Okay, fine. So let's begin the session. You must be thinking we have already been shared thinking line. Then what's the objective of this session? It's I just want to. I've been observing this for last 3-4 answers, so I thought I'll share this with you. First and foremost thing is, you guys are doing a good job when it comes to identifying the dimensions. I think by this time, most of you must be aware of this term dimensions. Dimensions means like whenever you see a given question, what different aspects you are supposed to address is called dimension. I'm sure by this time this term is already familiar to you. But where you guys are lacking, most of you are this idea of prioritization of dimensions. I'm just curious. Hope I'm audible to everyone. Just let me know. I did not check it with some. Yes, audible and visible, right? Yes, fine. Okay. Yeah, thanks. What I'm saying, you guys are doing a good job when it comes to identifying the dimensions. Say, for instance, even in the present question on primary healthcare, you guys did a good job. Say you have written good introductions. Some of you have written exceptionally good introductions. And yes, some of you have taken this dimension of need for overhaul in primary healthcare system. That also has been done very well. And some of you have taken a slightly different stand. Even in my thinking line, I have included that stand. It is issues with the contemporary primary healthcare system. And issues also I try to try to text one issues faced by the people and issues in the model itself. You can choose either one, but I personally suggest to choose this issues in the present primary healthcare model. That also is good. Then some also have interestingly mentioned ideas like advantages of primary healthcare system. Some also have mentioned consequences of a dysfunctional primary healthcare system. And yes, some of them have taken a what government is already doing in the primary healthcare system. And yes, most of you also have written how this overall should be, means how the primary healthcare system should be overall, or what are the measures to be taken, which means nothing but the solution part. So these are various dimensions in this particular topic related to primary healthcare system. And yes, by reading the question, we will get an idea. Like what dimensions have to be prioritized in your answer. Here, most of you, majority of you, I can say, you are not in a position to exactly identify which dimension has to be given, how much significance or what importance. Say that's very evident in this present question on primary healthcare system. Very few of you have given 1 page to measures or solutions for primary healthcare system. See, I agree with you that question has these 2 important leads. One is changing health trends, and other thing is need for overhauling primary healthcare system. See, I don't say that they are not important, but examiner, especially in this questions which are open-ended in nature, questions which are based on statements, would love to see more and more innovative suggestions or solutions from your side. But that is lacking in your answer. So I'm coming again. Prioritization of dimensions, identification of dimensions, yes, with effort. Now all of you guys have mastered that. See, previously, or even now, some of the young aspirants, they will not properly identify dimensions and they'll just write their answer in a unidimensional manner. But yes, because of the consistent practice which many of you are doing, you guys have mastered this part of identifying all the relevant dimensions. But now this is high time you also develop this discernibility of which dimensions have to be accorded how much of the priority. See, especially again, I'm coming to the same question. The questions like this, open-ended questions like this, examiner and also needs a thorough overall. See, the tone of the statement by which it should guide you to that idea that you have to write more number of good quality and innovative solutions. So this is the first and foremost thing. Please keep this in mind hereafter whenever you are writing your answer. Before you start putting pen on the paper, just give 15-20 seconds of time and have in your mind how much time I am giving to each dimension, how much space in the paper of the 2, 3, 4th page I have with me. I am going to allocate to each dimension. Should be very clear in this mark. Say sometimes there's a possibility that you might be very strong in what particular dimension. Say for instance, in the same topic, say primary healthcare system, maybe you are very strong in say need for overhauling primary healthcare system, but that should not overwhelm the all the relevant aspects. All the relevant aspects, say for instance, many of you have done this mistake. Say you have given so much emphasis to this idea of what actually is what's the need for overall, and at the end you have only half page left and you have only 3/4 page left, and versa for some people only 1/4 of the page is left to write the measures or solutions. See, how can you expect good marks? You may be thinking that you have written a good answer which is good in content. I agree with you, some of you have written very good content, like it's even inspiring, that level of content, but still you come out there is a possibility that you get low scores. Reason being, this prioritization of dimensions was not done in intelligent manner. So this has to go permanently in your mind from now. Hereafter, when you write an answer, take a 15-20 second pause and prioritize it well. So that's the first important aspect I want to tell you. Second thing is structuring. See, this part still most of you are yet to develop now. Only 4 or 5 students are doing this aspect well. Rest of you, though you are writing good answers, good content, everything you are taking care well, but the structuring of the answer you are not doing properly. More so when the question is open-ended. See, don't think that just because say when you are reading in newspapers, there is a possibility that the topic might be very specific, say agricultural credit or agricultural insurance or agricultural something. It can be a specific topic. But if you carefully observe, UPSC is not every time asking that specific topics. It's leaving open-ended questions. See, for instance, this is a classical question, primary healthcare. See, such an open-ended topic, you can even write an essay with this topic. But even when such topic comes, that should not compromise the quality of your answer. And yes, I've seen till now, maybe I've seen some 15 to 17 copies of this primary healthcare. All of you are writing such trivial ideas like, say, for instance, like need to upgrade the infrastructure in the primary healthcare system, or there is a need for provision of good quality drugs. These are not the point. See, primary healthcare is such a broad and open-ended topic. You have to touch all the broader aspects. Broader aspects in the sense like you have seen, but I've seen thinking line. See what can be done governance-wise, financial-wise, infrastructural-wise, functional-wise, human resources-wise. These are the broader aspects, right? Only the broader aspects will try to cover the topic in as much depth as it is possible. So this structuring is something which you guys have to still focus on. There is a reason why I am giving this much emphasis on structure. See, examiners will not have the patience and time to evaluate each and every line you write. Unless, see, this structuring, I know it's difficult to master, but it enhances the visibility. It enhances the presentation levels, isn't it? See, it does not matter how much knowledge we have. At the end of the day, in that given 12-13 minutes of time, how many good quality points you made them visible and you presented them to the examiner in such a way that in the 2-3 minutes time he has to evaluate each question of yours, he should be in a position to see all the ideas. You have say you might have written a very good idea but you forgot to underline it or give it adequate emphasis, then it's highly likely that in this quickly evaluating the copy, there is a possibility that examiner might not even notice it, isn't it? So all the hard work which you have put in all these years might go waste if you don't focus on these little things like highlighting, structuring, and all. That's the reason I'm constantly emphasizing on structuring of your answer. Structuring brings in clarity. Structuring brings in simplicity in your answer, and at the same time, it's easy for examiner to identify what are all the important dimensions you have tried to put in your paper. And it also brings in great more coherence to your answer. Say for instance, otherwise some of you would say I think it's a paper of Shivaram has written such a good quality content, and see the amount of facts which you have included in your answer, nobody can write such a good quality facts. Still, if you observe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, they are like some facts which are arranged and there is no link between one point to other point. Means that flow is missing. So what I mean to say, Kaustubh, I'll show one answer how the structuring can be, so that you will better understand what structuring actually means. And of course, in my thinking line also, I try to do it. Isn't it? In thinking line, when I have written like issues with then I try to structure it, right? Like in the way of saying governance issue, financial issue, infrastructural issue, functional issue. That's simple. Mine might not be, I don't claim that mine is accurate, but I just wanted to, I want to tell you that this is how you have to structure the answer. I try to maintain it even in the solutions part and measures part also. Just observe it and see the books which you read on regular basis. Say for instance, this guy Vision IAS, whatever the content he writes, especially in his monthly material, he will structure it so very well, and you guys will be spending most of the time reading that books. Then you just observe it. Okay, for this particular topic, this is how he is structuring each and every idea so that he is making it more visible. It's not only easy for me to revise, it also easy for me to remember it and reproduce the same in the exam. So that's how try to practice the structuring aspect. So this completes the second and most important aspect, that you are not properly structuring your answers. And yes, structuring is very important. Let me quickly show one simple example of how good structuring can be done. I have taken this from Vision IAS current affairs materials itself. Just see it, observe quickly. See, police reforms. This is also a very open-ended topic, right? Police reforms. Then we must be confused about where to start, how to start, and a lot of confusion. See how he tried to address, how he tried to structure why India needs urgent police reforms. He has written like this: say, ever increasing threat, myriad deficiencies in the police investigations, then increasing interference by the government, inadequate for police infrastructure, police public relationship. This is how, see, he tried to make it, he tried to structure it in a broader dimension. But what mistake you guys are doing? If I remember, say, why India needs urgent police reform, you will write that there is shortage of personnel. See, shortage of personnel cannot be the main idea, or overburdening of work or inadequate weaponry cannot be the main idea. And if you directly write inadequate weaponry, overburdening of work, shortage of personnel, it might not convey or it might not present your information in a qualitative manner. This is the broader dimension: inadequate police infrastructure. As part of it, okay, you can write these sub ideas. See, just like I have kept infrastructure, a lack of adequate infrastructure at the primary healthcare level, and in that I have included several things, right? Like, say, there is no good laboratory facilities, there is no ambulatory care, like it means ambulance services are not properly available, so they will not have that status of elevating it to a heading. So try to understand that this is how you have to write the main idea, and simple and trivial ideas should be part of this main idea. I'll just show with other example. See, most of you, you have written directly, say, lack of accountability to committees and local bodies. You should have written it simply as it's a governance is a major issue. Then funding aspect, you should have kept this heading and you should have written funding issue. Then infrastructural, say, likewise. Say, functional, likewise. Human resources, then lack of innovation can stand as an isolated point or a standalone point. Likewise, but you should have that discernibility in identifying which has the status to be kept as a heading and which one does not have the status of a heading, or which one does not have that much importance, so that you can call it as a separate, you can write it as a separate point. Idea is to add weight to your answer. Idea is to add weight to the content. As simple as that. Okay. Hope this, I know, like in this one single session, I can't say that you will immediately understand it. Now hereafter, whenever you are reading your current affairs materials, or whenever you are reading your newspapers, whatever it is, try to observe how the right The person who has written the content has structured his answer. And one good source I can say is Vision IAS Current Affairs Materials. So they just don't randomly compile the information. They also structure it very well in a presentable format so that it will be helpful to the aspirants, right? And this takes me to another very important aspect again. Still after practice, most of you are not using relevant jargon in your answers. Now you are writing your answers like layman. See, what do I mean when I say you are writing your answers like layman, and what do I mean when I say you are not including ethical jargon? See, a topic on primary health care, what's stopping you guys from, I'll just give a quick list of terms. Of course, I've already given this in my thinking line and also included in your copies. Ideas like epidemiological transition, promotive healthcare, preventive healthcare, or rehabilitative healthcare, palliative healthcare, or say geriatric care, adolescent health, reproductive and sexual health. See, all these terms, I'm not using these terms from any medical textbooks or anything as such. These terms come on regular basis in the newspapers. In fact, Hindu uses even more sophisticated ideas than this. Then I really don't understand why you guys are hesitating in using these terms, and especially examiners will expect these terms. Don't think these are some high sounding or fascinating terms or anything as such. If you read newspapers on regular basis, if you read current affairs materials, they use these terms: accessibility, affordability, equity, isn't it? Say then plurality, then diversity, choice in healthcare, and indigenous medical systems, or absorption of indigenous medical systems. These kind of words, specific words and specific ideas, examiner will expect from your copies. But very many of the students are not doing this. You are just writing it like in layman terms. Then how would it differentiate from a from a civil services aspirant, a serious aspirant, from a regular aspirant? You all know these terms. I know, I'm pretty sure. But only thing, I don't know what is stopping you. See, I have evaluated so many copies. None of you have used this term universal primary healthcare. Of all the copies I have seen. See, universal primary healthcare is such an important concept for equity, isn't it? If you want to bring in equity in the healthcare, then universal primary healthcare is something very, very important. Such ideas I could not see in your copies. So this brings me to another very, very important aspect. That is, you are not using adequate jargon. I do not want to call it technical jargon also. I just want to call it relevant jargon, which is expected from each topic. If you are writing an economy answer, there are certain terms which examiner will expect from you. If you are writing an answer on internal security, certain terms would be expected. Disaster management, yes. Society, yes. Likewise, each subject has certain terms which add weights to the content, which makes your script more readable and more presentable. So whenever you read your content hereafter, write those terms. If you want, you can give them a name called as keywords. And whenever you are doing your revisions, ensure that you observe these keywords, write them down at one place, keep seeing them often, so that you ensure inclusion of these key terms in your answers. So these are three important things which I want to share in your share with you. And of course, certain basics also are missing. Basics means like I don't know. Maybe they would have been taught to you, or they would not have been taught. But still, that should not stop you. Say, for instance, healthcare actually can be divided into promotive healthcare, preventive healthcare, treatment, rehabilitation, rehabilitative healthcare, and palliative healthcare. These are 5 phases. You cannot call it stages. These are 5 types of healthcare. Means anything. Say, if a question is asked to you on tertiary healthcare, or if a question is asked to you on secondary healthcare, if a question is asked to you on primary healthcare, whatever it is, examiner would like to see that you include all the relevant components, right? And especially in this topic also, changing health trends. See, question is very specific, right? Changing health trends. You have to talk about health trends. And when you are talking about health trends, you have to talk about the dynamic trends. Some of you have included the existing trends also. Existing trends means IMR, MMR. See, we have this problem of IMR, MMR, low UFIMR. This is there for times immemorial, right? But changing health trends means those which have been the recent trends, or those which are the happening trends. And see, the term epidemiological transition, I've seen only few people have used the term epidemiological transition. See, Hindu might have used this term tens of times. In Hindu paper, you come across these terms very often. None of you have used, or very less number of you have used this term epidemiological transition. Epidemiological transition means, see, currently we are witnessing a transition from communicable diseases to non-communicable diseases. And again, see, I'm very sure all of you might have read about mental health, all of you might have read about adolescent health, all of you might have read about reproductive and sexual health. All these ideas you might have read. But suddenly when a question which is so wide open has been, asked for you to write, then you guys get confused and you end up writing substandard content. So what I'm trying to suggest is, there will be certain topics like this. Definitely UPSC will not stop asking these kind of topics even in your mains examination. UPSC also once asked a question, what agricultural reforms? And you have to write agricultural reforms in 2.5 page. See how many points you can write. You can write anything under the sky for reforming in agriculture. Means you have to be prepared for this. You have to identify all the broader aspects. You have to include all the broader aspects so that examiner will get an impression that he is touching upon the all major aspects. And again, this thing I've already told, but I'm telling again, don't write too specific points, right? When such an open-ended question which have vast scope are asked, make your answer as broader, as macroscopic as possible. Okay, ma? These are the things I want to share with you. And if you give me 5 more minutes of time, I'll quickly show you some slides which I have downloaded so that you can better understand what actually some more aspects related to primary healthcare. I'll just take 5 more minutes of your time. See, because this is one such question, there is a scope for good diagrams or good representations and all, but that also I could not see in your answers. So you could have written a definition. Of course, I also suggested other ways of writing definition, other ways of writing introduction. As I've told you, it can be a startling statistic, or it can be something like a small case story, something as such. Yes, some of you have written good introductions, no doubt. But again, see the terms. Did you observe? Universal accessibility, scientifically sound, socially acceptable, community participation, affordability, self-reliance, and like these are the kind of terms that examiners would love to see in your answer. See, primary healthcare, these are different aspects of primary healthcare. This is something very basic, all of you must be knowing. Promotive healthcare, preventive healthcare, curative healthcare, rehabilitative healthcare. I'll just ask one simple question. I have also framed the question on.
Sir, the screen is not visible.
Screen is not visible. Achha, okay. Sorry, I forgot to share. Yeah. Sorry. Yes, see, what I try to say is you try to use these kind of relevant jargon, and also, yes, preventive healthcare, promotive healthcare, curative healthcare, rehabilitative healthcare. Wherever it is primary healthcare, you have to ensure that all these aspects are covered in your answer. Screening, all of you heard about this term screening. I also framed one question, if you guys remember. Some of you also have attended this question. Screening falls under which stage, ma? Preventive or promotive or curative or rehabilitative? Just let me know. Yeah. Screening falls under which stage? Yeah, screening falls under preventive stage, isn't it? Screening falls under preventive stage of healthcare. So what is screening? Screening means it's like conducting of diagnostic tests on populations. Conducting of diagnostic tests on populations is called as screening. Can anybody tell me good examples of screening? We have neonatal screening, right, as part of Rashtriya Bala Swasthya Karyakram. What do they do? This is for 4Ds, right? Diseases, deficiencies, disabilities, developmental delays, isn't it? Yeah. Kanti Velugu, very good. Kanti Velugu program of Telangana government. They are screening all the senior citizens for their eye-related ailments. These are all examples of different types of examples of screening, isn't it? So yes, that's what I want to share with you. Vaccination also is a good example of preventive healthcare. And hope you guys are aware of this rehabilitative healthcare and palliative healthcare, and this is not given adequate importance in our country. And of course, in the tertiary healthcare system also, we don't have good rehabilitative care and palliative care in our country. But yes, we should not shy out, and even national health policy recommends that to the level of the primary healthcare system, you have to take rehabilitative care and palliative care. Reason being, country is witnessing epidemiological transition, and because of this epidemiological transition, what is happening, say we are having life expectancy also has increased, and we are having more and more number of people with non-communicable diseases. Non-communicable diseases may not kill people immediately, but it has the potential to have impact on the quality of the life of the individual. At the same time, certain diseases like cancers are experiencing increasing incidence. In such cases also, when cancers are increasing, there is a possibility that this person might not be responding to treatment. For such people, palliative care is very important. And for some people, like say who get cerebrovascular strokes or something like that, they might need physiotherapy and other rehabilitative support. Or even this incidents of trauma, road accidents or animal attacks, these are all increasing. Even suicidal tendencies are increasing. In such cases, people who have recovered from such mental stress, or who have recovered from this trauma like road accidents or even other things like animal attacks, they need rehabilitative care. But in India presently, rehabilitative care and palliative care is almost non-existent except in few urban areas. So yes, to the level of the primary healthcare system, we have to penetrate rehabilitative healthcare and palliative healthcare. That suggestion also I could not see in your answers. See, this is another good slide. Promotion, prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation and palliation. Strengthening primary healthcare. Some of you have written it, but I personally felt my thinking line is more comprehensive. Try to go through it. This also is a good slide. I'll share with you. Then elements of primary healthcare. It's more or less somewhat similar to it. Elements is slightly different. Means what are different components of primary healthcare? See quickly. Immunization has to be taken. Health education. MCH care means mother and child health care, prevention of illness, prevention and control of endemic diseases, treatment of minor injuries and illnesses. Of course, sanitation is something very important. Can any of my class students recollect and tell me what are social determinants of health? Social determinants of health. Yeah. What are social determinants of health, ma? Concept of social determinants of health. I've discussed this. I'll repeat, social determinants of health. Of course, gender is a social determinant of health. Poverty, okay. Environment, sanitation, good. Education, yeah. Of course, wash, yes, of course. Water, sanitation, hygiene are important social determinants of health. Many things. It's not just that. Yeah, economic stability also. Why not? Inequalities, economic inequalities in the society, income inequalities in the society, indigenous nature. Say maybe he's a tribal, gender, race, lack of social harmony, or social structural inequalities in the society like gender inequalities, caste. All these aspects can have impact on the reproductive and sexual health. Is a component itself. It cannot determine health. Social determinants of health means certain social factors which can have impact on the health. Certain social factors which can have impact on the health outcomes are called as social determinants of health. Such terms also you can definitely use in your answers. Yes, definitely, Pankaj. Social capital also can have impact on the health outcomes, and it has been proven that in villages where there exists good social capital, health indicators, especially the nutritional indicators of the children, has recorded positively where social capital is good. Yes, now social cohesion also is very important. One good example I often tell in my class, say after Muzaffarnagar riots in Uttar Pradesh, children's immunizations got compromised. As children's immunization got compromised, it has impact on their nutritional indicators. And recently in Shopian district of Jammu and Kashmir, South Kashmir, which is known for, it's a conflict-prone region. Because of this constant conflicts, again, child's health care has been ignored, which in turn had impact on the health indicators. So undoubtedly, social cohesion will play an important role. Blind beliefs, definitely, Pallavi. Yes, obscurantist thought process. Say in certain villages, villagers do not have this incentive to go to allopathic medicinal systems, and they have a tendency to believe in the indigenous medicinal system. It's not that we are belittling the importance of indigenous health systems. Yes, indigenous health system have their own weight, but in certain cases when they cannot heal, some of them are also, there is they do not that distinction between what constitutes scientific practice and what constitute unscientific is often blurred in case of this indigenous medicinal systems. Yes, okay. So that's the discussion on social determinants of health. So healthcare system in India, some of you have written mistakes on this, so I thought I'll just show you. Primary level is subcenter. It begins with subcenter. Subcenter is the bottommost of the healthcare system in our country. Now they are planning to rename them as health and wellness centers, right? As part of Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Remember, Ayushman Bharat has two components. One component is Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Other component is this health and wellness centers. Health and wellness centers will take care of promotive healthcare, preventive healthcare, and primary treatment. Whereas regular primary healthcare centers and of course community health centers and tertiary level like district hospitals and medical colleges affiliated district hospitals will take care of the tertiary level. So Ayushman Bharat has two components. One is Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, and other component is health and wellness component. Okay. Yeah, this is another good slide I'll share with you. Different components of primary healthcare: maternal and newborn health, child health, prevention of communicable disease, non-communicable disease, trauma and basic surgical care, public health and health security, mental health, sexual and reproductive health. None of you have highlighted this. Of course, you have mentioned it, but mental health is a growing concern among the rural areas. People always think that mental health problem or burden of mental health is more in urban areas. No, rural areas are also witnessing a substantial increase in the mental health related problem. And overall, primary healthcare system in India, mental health is almost absent in the primary healthcare system, both in the urban areas and rural areas. We don't have primary mental health clinics in our country, and that is the reason, isn't it? Say an area like Gandhinagar and Ashoknagar, where so many students preparing for examination, and definitely there is a scope for a lot of stress. Is there a single good psychological counseling center? That awareness itself is very less in our country, and there is a lot of stigmatization on people who are trying to approach these mental health clinics or psychological counseling centers. So mental health is largely non-existent for poor sections of the population in our country. Only those rich and affordable, say a week ago, one of my friend consultant asked me, like, any good psychiatrist? I said, in Hyderabad, I don't have any good contact. I can refer you my friend. Then before I tried to help her, she got an appointment from a psychologist, and that for 145-minute session, that lady charged her 3,500. It's even more than what a psychiatrist generally charges from his patient, which means, yes, now the psychological counseling and all, they have become a luxury, and only those who can afford that much money, they are having access to. Simply saying, in public health system, and of course in an affordable manner, we don't have mental health care in our country. So we have to ensure that happens in the primary healthcare level. See, universal coverage, I have already told, right? This point has not been adequately emphasized in your answer. And this is one good way of structuring this answer. How can reforms? See, public policy reforms, service delivery reforms, universal coverage reforms, leadership reforms. Had you kept your headings in your solutions part like this, your answer would have got a lot of weight and depth. You have just simply listed out various ideas. So this is what I want to share with you. Now, before ending the session, I want to give a small assignment for you. Say you guys have written a topic on primary healthcare, right? Now what you will do, I'll just read out the question, listen carefully. In place of healthcare, you write primary education in India needs a substantial overall. In view of changing societal trends. Same question, I'm just changing two words. Instead of health, I'm keeping primary education in India needs a thorough overhaul, keeping in mind changing societal trends. Now, please take 5 minutes time now only and give me the structure of this answer. You need not write entire answer. Please take 5 minutes time, think on your own, and try to try to make a structure for this question. Hope you understood the question now. Okay, hope you understood the question. Should I repeat the question? Question is very simple. Instead of primary health, you just replace it with the term primary education. And instead of health trends, which you have written, you make it societal trends. And I'm asking you to prepare a structure for this. Okay. You want to introduce with annual status of education. And I've seen none of you have written about India's state of disease burden report. It's a very, very important report, but in very few people have mentioned that India's state of disease burden report. Actually, it's considered as very authentic in health planning in our country. Yeah. Learning crisis, learning poverty, happy schools, introducing by Assar report sounds, yes. Kaustubh and Shagufta, as you have so told, yes, writing with Assar report in the introduction is a good idea, no denying that. And how to structure, how to go a little bit further. Yeah, Assar report, issues, say in HR, infra, funding, government, societal trends, yes. Child delinquency, child labor, good. Unemployment, is unemployment relevant, Gautam? I could not get, I could understand. Ethical erosion, very good. Crime rate, crime on women, or the changing social trends. You think that has to be reflected in education, primary education? Okay, fine. Measures, good, Gautam. Yeah, it sounds relevant. Yes, primary education is the foundation stone of education, human capital trends. Ravi Teja, definition of primary education in India. Okay. Status of primary education in India, enrollment, access, affordability, equity, all these aspects you can talk. Good. Private sector contributions, challenge like toilet facilities. Like, that's what Ravi Teja try to understand. These are all very specific points, right? Challenges like toilet facilities, dropouts, learning outcomes, See, structure means something which should have an, that aerial view or broader aspect. Try to understand. Okay. Yeah. Rajesh, education status of marginalized section. Okay. PISA report, changing social trends. Okay. Completed, Rajesh. You have written only partly. Introduction, as a report, definition, recent development, challenges, reforms needed. Okay, Jagadish. Jagadish, you have identified the dimensions well. It would be more like helpful. You also try to structure each dimension. Okay. Yeah. Socialization, Anusha. Yeah. Socialization is important. No? Yeah. Pankaj, you want to address it in this way: access, equity, quality. Yeah. Why do we need structural overhaul? One, inadequate infrastructure. Low. Yeah. Pawan. Yeah. Now you are trying to understand what I'm saying. Yeah. Ghettoization, globalization, migration, fertility rate as changing trends. Fertility rate, Takanum, I could not understand the link between fertility rate and education. You can elaborate it a little bit more. Okay, teachers professional development. Teachers professional development. That's a standalone point, right? How would it fall in the structure of this? Think again, RAK. Employment, vocational education. Acha, unemployment, vocational education, activity-based learning. Okay, fine. Yeah, now I understood your point. So that's what. So I'll end the session now. So I'll quickly sum up what the core intention of the present session. Core intention of the present session. Yes, one, you are identifying your dimensions well, but when it comes to prioritizing of the dimensions, you guys are not doing justice. Please keep it in mind very seriously. Hereafter, structure your dimensions well. So prioritize your dimensions well. Next, structure your answer properly. This skill you guys have to still develop. Some of you, of course, you are already doing this aspect also. You are doing really well, but some of you are writing good answers, but structuring aspect you are ignoring. Please start focusing on the structure. Another important thing which I want you to know is using of the relevant jargon as per the demand of the topic. Again, I'm repeatedly saying it's not any sophisticated or high sounding terms I am asking you to use. These are the things which you come across on day-to-day basis in your newspapers. You just have to have that knack to identify them, write all of them at one place, revise them so that they come automatically when you are writing your answers. Okay. Yeah. So have a good day, Ma. And I'll try to evaluate your copies. PHC answers I'll evaluate, and also yesterday also I have posted some questions that I'll try to provide thinking line if my time permits today, and tomorrow I'll also evaluate few copies. Have a good day. Bye. Thank you.